Ubuntu is getting a brand new remixed version which is absolutely fantastic. In this video, I'll be taking you on a walkthrough of the brand new Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS version. The gorgeous looking Deepin Desktop Environment is now available with the stability and trust of Ubuntu. Deepin is a Linux distro famous for its stunningly beautiful homegrown desktop environment, which became hugely popular with the Linux community. Many people wish to experience and enjoy this fantastic desktop. Not many of us did. Not many of us could because of an unfortunate controversy involving user personal data security and it being based in China, which I'll clarify and explain in detail later on in this video. If you were one of those who really liked Deepin Desktop and wanted to use it, I got really good news for you. Ubuntu DDE is a new remix that gives you Deepin Desktop Environment on top of the solid Ubuntu base. And now you can enjoy DDE with peace of mind, knowing that your personal data is 100% safe and secure. Let's check out the new Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS. How it performs, what's new here, how stable it is, are there any issues? Everything you need to know about this remix will be covered right here in this video. This is Linux Techs, let's jump right in. Starting with the user interface. Ubuntu DDE uses Deepin Desktop Environment 5.0, which is very modern and intuitive. The whole interface looks very glossy. The elements look really good, especially the transparency and blur effect that these elements have. It is built using Qt framework, and this allows it to create this desktop, which is just so good to look at. The desktop has two modes, a fashion mode which looks like Mac OS, and an efficient mode which looks like the good old Windows 7, but with more glitter. The application launcher too has two modes, a full screen one and a better one. Deepin Desktop has a side panel that serves as both the notification panel as well as the control center for the whole OS. This is very accessible. Although I would have preferred to have an independent setting application, this side panel thing still works. Most icons on the bottom bar here also summon the side panel. The side panel is good for some quick toggles, but I really don't want to see advanced display scaling settings here. If we had a dedicated setting application here, I think the side panel would be less cluttered and the freed up space could be used for some other things. Moving on, the window animation and effects look good. They are reminiscent of KDE Plasma Desktop. The desktop doesn't have any animations for the desktop elements themselves. I would have loved to see some cool transitions when the application menu pops up or the sound controls are called. The desktop looks good in fashion mode, but I like the efficient mode better. Since the application menu can also be customized with two modes here, most people can use the presets here that they like better. Apart from that, there isn't anything more you can do here in the customization department. You can change the wallpaper though. So in the user interface department, yes, it looked good. It kinda has this futuristic vibe to it. I agree it's not bringing anything really new to the scene, but for many people who just want a desktop that feels familiar and is simple in layout, while also being good looking, polished and contemporary in terms of the visuals, Deepin Desktop is just awesome. Next, let's have a look at the performance and stability of Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS. In Ubuntu DDE, the desktop is very nimble. Firstly, there are very less animation effects in the desktop, and the ones that are there, like the sidebar sliding animation, are really fluid. There is a simple tweak here that I found really interesting. In personalization settings, once I toggled off Windows effects, I found that the desktop became much more responsive. Even the side panel sliding has suddenly become more fluid. This I would suggest for computers that are rather on the older side. I really liked how fast the OS works with the Windows animations turned off. I mean, it's really much better this way, and it worked really smooth this way on my old laptop too. This looks good too. You can see that the transparency and blur effects for the menu, the bottom panel and the sidebar are all turned off. And very honestly, the desktop looks much more polished now. In other heavier tasks like gaming and compiling, you can expect a similar performance as the main pure Ubuntu. Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS is based on the Linux kernel 5.4. Ubuntu 20.04 LTS has shown significant improvements in all-round performance over the last LTS release. We also get NVIDIA driver version 440 here. This driver brings superb improvements in gaming performance. So Ubuntu DDE is a performance powerhouse. This is an LTS version, so it will be supported for the next 5 years. Ubuntu LTS versions are probably the most used Linux distros in the world at any given time. They are extremely stability oriented and provide a computing environment that is highly dependable, be it for schools or to deploy supercritical multi-million-dollar websites. So with Ubuntu DDE, you are good for the next 5 years. Now let's get to the topic of software availability and the default software store, which I guess many of you were waiting for. Firstly, let me tell you that we are not getting the Deepin software store here, which was responsible for the whole Deepin personal data controversy. Instead, we get the Ubuntu software store here, which is absolutely trustworthy. I'll talk about it more in the last section. Out of the box, we are getting a good number of essential applications here. For most software, you can download software from the Ubuntu software repositories, and Ubuntu has huge repositories of stable, tested packages. Pretty much anything you need can be installed directly from the official Ubuntu repos in a very fast, convenient, and secure way. We can also use PPAs to get more software. PPAs are maintained by the particular software developers themselves, so they are very dependable. Personally, I really love this version of Ubuntu. The Linux community has pretty high standards as far as the security and the privacy of the user goes. Because of this reason itself, most Linux users would never use Deepin Linux. Ubuntu DDE allows you to safely experience Deepin Desktop Environment and have peace of mind regarding personal data. Ubuntu DDE uses only open source code from Deepin Desktop. Any proprietary code that does not openly show what it does is not used here. And I don't really believe Deepin Linux stole user data. There was never any solid evidence to prove so. Deepin Linux has a website for software store, a website mind you, and they used CNZZ Analytics, which is like the Google Analytics of China, to track which apps were downloaded, which app pages were visited, and some other analytics. But this data being sent was encrypted, so we don't really know what it was. I mean, which big website doesn't use encryption? Anyway, this was blown out of proportion by blogs and stuff looking for hot news, and Deepin Linux was branded as spyware. They repeatedly announced that they never stole any personal data, but the damage was already done. They being based in China didn't really help their case. Now, do I know for sure that Deepin didn't steal your personal data? No, absolutely not. Whether you trust Deepin or not is absolutely up to you. This issue was never publicly settled. Now, you don't even need to go around that train of thoughts. Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS brings the Deepin experience to you minus any headaches or privacy concerns. I have used Ubuntu DDE 20.04 LTS beta version in this video. The stable version will release on the 23rd of April 2020. I've given the download link in the description below, do check it out. This month I will be putting out many videos on Ubuntu 20.04 long-term support version. So if you like this video, do consider subscribing. Next up, check out my video on the top 15 must-have Linux applications. This is Linux Techs signing out.